to the October session of EdTech Monday, live on Citi 97.3 FM and live on MEST Africa's Facebook page. My name is Nathan Kwa. I'm your moderator for the session. Now, this month, we are having a chat on the topic, building digital tools that empower teachers and learners. Now, we do know that teachers are the most critical resource in the education ecosystem. Empowering them to leverage technology to improve lesson delivery, student outreach, and achieving personal growth is very crucial. Now, World Teachers Day was marked this year on October 5 under the theme, The Teachers We Need for the Education We Want, the global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage. So the question is, it's no longer whether structured educational digital transformation should be applied. It is how we need to do it in the most effective way, because tech is really here to stay. I have three wonderful guests who will be sharing their experiences and knowledge with us this morning. I've got Heather Beam. Heather Beam is CEO and founder of Practical Education Network. Now, she's an engineer and an MIT graduate, and she envisioned global MIT-style hands-on learning environments. Her journey led her to Ghana, where she founded the Practical Education Network. And at that place, she trains African STEM teachers in experiential pedagogies, forming partnerships, infusing STEM into national curricula and making STEM education accessible. And she's also a senior lecturer at the Ashesi University. Heather, good morning. Many thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Great. My second guest is Mrs. Barbara Edia. She's the principal of the Country International School. Now, she's the founder of Country International School, and she brings over 12 years of experience in child education and social development. And her finance background is interesting. She's a numbers person. Her finance background didn't deter her from pursuing her passion for child development, and Barbara's commitment to advancing learning through modern techniques drives her to provide elite education in Accra, fostering limitless potential in her students. Barbara, good morning. Many thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Nathan.
All right. Final guest is Daniel Kofi. He's consultant principal, Mulan Smart Educational Center and Mulan Neurodiversity School. Now, Daniel Kofi boasts an impressive set of academic credentials with an MPhil and an MSc as a consultant principal at the Mulan Smart Educational Center and Mulan Neurodiversity School. He combines his expertise in psychology, education, and leadership to make a lasting impact. He's got extensive experience, he's got great academic achievements, and he's committed to continuous learning, and that has set him apart in the field of education, psychology, and leadership. Daniel, many thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks to be here.
Now, for those who do not know what EdTech Monday is a platform for EdTech entrepreneurs, education stakeholders, and government reps to facilitate critical conversations on the use of technology for teaching and learning. And the show is an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation's Regional Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning in ICT, and it's part of the foundation strategy to find solutions to Africa's youth employment situation by closing the gap in access quality education. So on every last Monday of the month, like we're doing today, we have this chat on Citi 97.3, live on the Citi Breakfast Show, on Facebook Live at Citi 97.3 FM, and on West Africa's Facebook page, and we have great conversations around education and technology. Let me welcome my guests once again, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Many thanks for joining us once again.
Good morning, Nathan.
Great. I can say you're all teachers in different rights, right? Different variants or shades. Let me start with you, Heather, and that question will cut across. Now, how has the role of teachers evolved, and how are you as educators adapting to the new things we are doing, technology, integrated teaching and learning? Heather.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone. So once again, my name is Heather. I'm the CEO and founder of an NGO called PEN, Practical Education Network, whose mission is to enable every African child to learn by doing. We want to see a future where, at least when it comes to science, math, students are doing experiments, they're doing activities, they're experiencing a very practical, hands-on education when they go through school. And so the way that we've been doing that for the last few years is working with teachers. So as you said, Nathan, I'm a teacher as well. I have a passion for seeing the role of teachers really be elevated and see them as a key element in making learning experiences improve, because even with technology, teachers are still a pivotal part of the whole classroom experience. So what I can share from our experience at Penn is an example of how technology has started playing a greater role in what teachers have to do. Over the last about 3 years now, basically since COVID hit, we've been doing either a fully online or a blended version of our training. So even though the training that we do is all very hands-on, very practical, we bring local materials. Teachers have to work through activities, with their hands to actually bring science topics to life. We've managed to do that in an online environment.
Okay.
And so the way that teachers in Ghana and even Rwanda and Liberia have been engaging with that is through their smartphones. Even with just the phone that they already have, they just have to have Zoom installed and then Google Classroom. And then we're able to engage with them. We share videos, instructional videos on how they can gather local materials and conduct a science experiments with balloons and straws and what have you that they can find. And then they also take pictures and videos of themselves doing it and they upload it on Google Classroom. So it's an example that even seemingly very in-person kinds of engagements can actually be done online. And we have, like I said, teachers across different countries in Africa that have been engaging in this. So there's a lot more that can be done with technology to enhance what happens for the teaching and learning experience.
Wonderful. Daniel?
Yeah. Over the years, it looks like you said, evolution of the teaching environment. And when you look at it, there are key areas that I would like to highlight.
Okay.
One is the curriculum. Over the years, you will notice that there's a change in the approach to handling curriculum. Curriculum have shifted from formats that ask for reproduction of knowledge or of an experience to performative activities where you are expected to actually perform. Because of that, theory is no more as valuable as activity and performance. It's also shifted from a format where there's a look at the base of the Bloom taxonomy, where we look a lot at understanding and remembering, to now analysis, evaluation, creativity, and so on. So this has called on us as educators, especially leadership, to look at how do you get the teachers to be able to, and like she said, we try, for example, in Milan, teachers were brought into writing Google Docs lesson notes, writing Google Forms lesson notes and reports. What happens is that, for example, when you are doing therapy and you are writing therapy reports, the administrator of the neuro unit is directly reading what you are writing live, so that inputs can be made from different angles. Apart from that, there has been a lot of introduction of dashboards into the management of the teacher's work, so that you see a lot of everything you do available to everybody else in the team. Because education has also shifted from individualistic approaches to more collaborative and team-based approaches, doing a lot of projects and so on. And inclusivity has become key in education now. So what do you as an educator do if you have inclusive classes? That is where, in a place like Milan, we try to use technology, like assistive devices and so on, to help the children and the teachers meet their goals. So in a nutshell, this is how I would say technology has been given a chance in the classroom.
I see. Barbara?
Well, thank you, Nathan. Globally, the COVID-19 pandemic sparked a general realization to the current way of life, especially for countries around the world where teaching methods and its associated practice has not massively developed. It has broken our perception of what is normal and deconstructed society as we know it. One such critical area where such evolution has become evident is education and the role teachers play in teaching and learning activities. The question at the time was, how do we maintain and achieve high standards of education? The question at that time was, how do we maintain and achieve high standards of education in those circumstances? And most educators, especially in the private education space where I am, resolved that it was a personal and social challenge that needs much creative thought and determination from teachers. Teaching today is much more difficult than 20 years ago, and present teachers with new challenges for the future. Our society have been so obviously and profoundly changed that the role of teachers have been remodeled, and the teaching system has changed to make them evitable and compatible with the new realities. Many schools have also adopted new modern e-technology such as Google Classroom, Class Dojo, and different apps, which adversely change the role of teachers, making them not teachers of concept, but now facilitators.
I see.
The new responsibilities and increased demand put on teachers' role is a historical fact, where teachers cannot insist that their tasks are limited only to developing the cognitive skills of their learners, but helping learners find and understand information about concept, making them lifelong learners. Thus, in addition to knowing their subject well, today teachers are expected to facilitate learning, to be efficient educators, and organize work groups using the 21st century skills. When I say the 21st century skills, what do I mean? I mean the critical thinking methods, being creative, collaborative, communication, information skills, and even social skills in the classroom. So that is what now, that's after the COVID, that's where we have evolved. Learning has evolved in our classrooms.
I see.
Right.
Wonderful. So, Heather, let's talk about the skills that the modern teacher or today's teacher must have, and whether or not teachers in Ghana have these skills.
Well, certainly in line with the theme of today's conversation, digital literacy stands out as a key skill that teachers need. And I'm not talking about, learning the nuance of the variety of EdTech platforms that exist out there, but just the fundamentals of, using Google to do an effective search, being able to put together presentations and documents digitally. I think those fundamental skills are where we need to focus our attention when it comes to equipping teachers here for the new wave of technology infused education. But I do want to also say that yes, technology is coming and there's things that we have to learn, but even no matter how much technology evolves, teachers will still need to have the fundamental skills of delivering practical inquiry-based lessons. So I'd say, yes, let's equip teachers with digital literacy skills, but let's not also forget that no matter how much technology gets advanced and seems to be able to do nice things for us, we still need teachers to have the key core skills of delivering lessons that really engage their students, that are, connected to real life, they're practical. So we can invest in both of those at the same time, I believe.
I see. Barbara, do you want to add something?
Right. I said for skill set need by teachers in this 21st century class can be unlimited, especially for the type of school I run. Many educational researchers have propounded skills in 3 categories that teachers are required to have. That is life and career skills. We have the learning and innovation skills, such as critical thinking, what I said earlier, communication, collaboration, creativity, adaptability, empathy, and patience. And we have the media or the information technological, that one too. The teachers should be able to develop the skill in information media and digital tools so that they can interact and guide their students effectively.
I see. Wonderful stuff. Now, let me come to you. Let's talk about the challenges that you face, adapting to technology integrated teaching and learning, and how have some of these challenges been confronted or worked on or mitigated?
Okay, so let me start with, I would like to use Mulan a lot. Because
that's your strength.
We shifted from assessing our children from paper-based, course-based to portfolio assessment. If you want your teachers to do portfolio assessment, it means that they need to have record over a period that are evidential and can be shown. Now you want, for example, you want your kids to bake. You want your kids to swim. You want the students to do obstacle courses and try to beat them. Do graphs, do data sheets and so on. How do you get them to do this if you don't generate platforms for the teachers to store this? So you get timers, for example, when the kids are having sports. In the past, we ran around and nobody cares. Now you want to give the parent very time-bound data on what the child is achieving. So when the child is doing a simple, trying to walk a straight line, you have teachers recording, teachers taking the time it took the child to finish, so that you can tell progress. When kids walk in and do simple writing work, you take pictures and you are storing this over a period. So you are seeing the progression in the child's development. When kids have programs, let's say they have to do a performance, you're asking them to take videos and do movies of what they are doing. This requires some skills from the teachers and the children themselves. So the school tries to provide this by giving projectors, giving tablets, giving timers, and even to the extent of making sure that you have cameras at everywhere that pick sound, so that they can go back to this, draw them, and put them together. Now, the other thing about it is that you do subscriptions. If you want your teachers to be able to do their work, provide them with the platforms. So we go subscribe to Twinkle, FET. FET provides us with simulation. So if your science lessons want to be more creative, you don't have the equipment, the simulations are there for the kids to make adjustments and see the effect. So these are provided for the kids. Now, you have simple tools like the Microsoft package, where children can do their own, what do we call them? Statistical tables by using class activities, and then convert them to graphs right there. If these things are done and we draw them and keep them, you know what developments are taking place in the child, and the teachers start to feel more comfortable. Finally, in the election of simple prefects, we are taking advantage of places like Twitter to do polls and get the children to select who wants to be who. The more the kids are involved in these things, the more they are enjoying the class, and the less they feel like, I want to stay home. And from, like I said about Mulan, everything is about creating heroes. So everything the child is doing, you want to see that this is what the hero can do. This is not just any ordinary thing. And that is why the teacher is always brought along, not left behind. Sometimes paying a lot for their trainings.
I see.
So I think that's how we've been able to bring them along.
Okay, all right. Heather, let's move on now. The continent is shifting. We are going from theory-based to competence-based learning and all. What digital tools should teachers have to deal with this the quick rate of change that's happening on the continent?
Yeah, I'll come back to what I mentioned earlier, which is, as technology grows and even like something like AI kind of exploded over the last year or so, there are a lot of different platforms coming out, and there's going to be even more different platforms coming out in the years ahead. And so I think we want to try to avoid saying like, okay, let's get all teachers to learn these 3 specific apps or something, and let's focus more on the fundamental skills of using technology, because the apps and platforms are going to change and evolve. So I think the most important thing is to help teachers get comfortable using, whether it's their phones or laptops, to do educational things, using Google to search effectively for information, using YouTube to search effectively for educational content, being able to communicate information in a digital way, in the form of presentations, in the form of documents, and so on. So I would advocate for focusing on those fundamental skills, with the recognition that the specific platforms are going to evolve quite a lot over time.
I see. Great stuff there. You're still listening to EdTech Monday on Citi 97.3 FM. We are live on Citi FM's Facebook page, and we're also live on MEST Africa's Facebook page as well. Now, our topic for this morning is building digital tools that empower teachers and learners. And my guests are Heather Beam, CEO and founder, Practical Education Network, Mrs. Barbara Adia, Principal, Country International School, and Daniel Kofi, Consultant Principal, Newland Smart Educational Center and Newland Neurodiversity School. It's been a great chat so far. We have a lot more to discuss. Barbara, let me come to you. Let's talk about where technology has been applied. What are some of the outcomes that have been achieved? And maybe if you can share some of the lessons in terms of inclusion, learners with a disability, learners who have minimal or little or no access to digital schools. Maybe you can share some thoughts on that for us.
Right. Nathan, for me, I think we should invest heavily. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, can you just share some lessons on where technology has been applied, in terms of learning outcomes that have been achieved? And maybe you can share some lessons with us in terms of inclusion and talk a bit about learners with a disability. So listening to EdTech Monday on Citi 97.3 FM.
Right.
Yes, Barbara, yes.
Nathan, tell you what, the learning outcomes as a result of tech integration is phenomenal and invaluable.
Okay.
It has basically promoted innovative teaching techniques and has reduced and worked on teachers drastically through the process, though the process is difficult. Teachers are able to present concepts with real-life videos and pictures, connect directly to the internet to verify information on complex topics. Whereas in the past, it would have been required them to report back to the class on another day. Overall, anywhere technology has been applied or is being applied, the confidence regarding learning outcomes had been enhanced. On the part of the learners, technology system integration has equipped learners with practicalizing their learning, and it has basically brought families together in their attempt to partner the schools in delivering teaching and learning. Nathan, using using my school as a case study, learners currently are able to email their teachers their concern and questions and are able to communicate their ideas upon reflection on the concept during home learning. And this basic technical opportunities have made the activities of teaching and learning awesome for children in recent years. And it is actually something that is also helping parents to also be able to communicate with teachers in a nice way through the WhatsApp platform.
Okay.
And if let's say the different apps that we have in the school too, in collection of our data and everything, is technology is being awesome in terms of teaching and learning.
I see. Wonderful. Right. Wonderful. Heather, let me come back to you. Let's talk about education systems, societies, communities, innovators. How do all these people recognize, appreciate, and actively support teachers? Because like you're saying, or like we've all established, the teacher is a very critical part of teaching and learning. So how do all these groups or elements support teachers to ensure that they succeed in this new age of EdTech and all of these new modes of learning?
Yeah, I'm sure we would all agree that, the more society values teachers, pays them well, and so on and so forth, the more that we'll see talented people move, desire to go into that profession. And so like you're saying, I think one thing that can be done even with wherever we're at right now is just celebrating teachers that are doing a good job. And so there are a few awards out there. I mean, the Ghana Teacher Prize just happened earlier this month. And so, there were a few teachers awarded for that. And I understand they also included the tutors from the College of Education for the first time this year. So I think those kinds of efforts are good. There are also a few international such awards. There's the Global Teacher Prize. There's T4 Education that does a global prize as well. Okay. So I think all of those are good, but I also think that we need more of such things happening at the kind of grassroots level, because there's only one or two people that would get selected, at a national or international stage.
Okay.
I think if we can just be celebrating teachers at the grassroots level, as and when we see some interesting innovation happening, that will go a long way to encourage teachers and also elevate the profession. So in our small way, Penn is also trying to do that. So we're just kicking off a program that we call our Exemplars program. So we've trained over the last few years a few thousand teachers, and we're trying to select a few of them that have really exemplified adopting hands-on practical approaches in the teaching of STEM. So we're going to start with just 10 teachers in Greater Accra who've been doing a great job of that. Give them a little follow-on training, give them a bit of support to get their students more engaged in STEM, to build projects, build real-life solutions. And so if you're interested, I encourage you to follow us on social media, follow Practical Education Network, and see some of the stories and videos that we'll be sharing in the weeks to come of Ghanaian teachers doing an amazing job of bringing practical lessons into their teaching. And we're planning to roll this Exemplars program out across all the regions in the next few years. So I think more of such things will help elevate teachers, encourage them that even when you try something new, somebody's watching and, will be happy to showcase your work. Because especially with the adoption of technology, it's new, it can be intimidating. So the more that we can just do little celebrations of teachers, I think can help with the adoption.
I see. Daniel, let's just stay on teachers. And we do know that they need to constantly update themselves, train professionally, get better. How is technology supporting teacher development?
Okay, so I'll look at it from within and without.
Okay.
Now, within schools are doing some of what I said. One, providing the tools. You get the laptops, you get the desktops, you get the tablets, you get the devices. For example, in special education, if you want to teach and the child is very disruptive, you need to get the child to be calm. We have the sound beam. The sound beam is motion responsive, so that when the child moves the hand, different sounds are made, and the child responds to the specific sound that he or she is happy with and stays without motion. That way, the child is calm. We have the sensory bottles and so on. These things help the kids to calm down for the teachers to work. So it helps. Beside this and the projectors and the laptops and so on, I also talked about the subscriptions. Schools must subscribe to institutions that will help you. For example, TPT, teacher pay teacher, provides a lot of materials that the teachers can work with, and therefore helps them to do their work. I've mentioned Twinkle, I've mentioned FED. We have Khan Academy and so many other platforms that are supportive to your work. So if these platforms are provided, it helps. Apart from that, there are a lot of virtual classrooms and institutions that are offering free education, like Allison, Udemy, Coursera, and so on. That, for me, what I do is, if I work with you, I want to see your phone, what apps you are downloading. I always want to encourage you.
I see.
Of course, you cannot force those things on anybody, but I want to encourage you. And one thing about getting technology integrated in schools is it has to be intentional. And one of the ways you can make it intentional is to generate the need for use. That's how come in Newland, I said we moved from, it was already soft versions. But we felt that the person who supervises must make sure that he's seeing the soft version you send, go through and send back. But with Google Forms, all you do is sit there, see what has happened, make input, and it goes back to the person. Or you use Google Forms to write a short note and say, reference this note and see what you need to do. That way, you can do all the heavy lifting during the holidays. When school is in session, all they need is to go back. If they are using a methodology that you feel they need to make some changes to, you can quickly do that in the preparatory stages. Apart from that, I think they must participate in Twitter spaces. There are a lot of Twitter spaces. That's a new one. Twitter spaces that discuss education. And if you get involved in such platforms, you hear from different perspectives when it comes to educational issues. You need to watch YouTube videos. TEDx helps, or TED itself. will help you to see a lot of what is happening across the world and be more interested in evolving and building new knowledge.
Okay.
Finally, I think more attention from both the people who are learning and the providers on enhancing the neurodiversity environment.
Okay.
So that more inclusivity can be achieved. Apps that promote scaffolding, differentiation, and so on are very important apps for such learners.
You talk about scaffolding. What exactly do you mean by that?
Scaffolding is just breaking the lessons into stages and waiting for the child to reach a milestone before you move to the next one. So when you keep doing it that way, the child is working at his or her own pace. And because of that, the child enjoys coming to school. If you are using differentiation, you are looking at everybody doing according to your speed, according to your abilities, and so on. And these things can be easily manipulated using apps. If you try to do them in class, sometimes it's a bit more difficult without help. But with this help, they are very, very helpful. So I would recommend that teachers pay a lot of attention to these opportunities that are in the tech environment to improve themselves.
Wonderful. Still listening to EdTech Monday. We are talking about digital tools that empower teachers and learners. Like we usually do, we'll play a very interesting insert or a clip for you to listen to. Now, today we interviewed the team from implementers and how the Yamaransa Labs is providing learners with digital skills across the country.
The Yamaransa Model Labs program was initially just an initiative that was started by a group of people from the Yale Alumni Service Corps who came to Ghana to want to provide some support to community. They helped the community to put up that structure in the Yamaransa community. And then ever since then, it moved on to different and various other communities from the Greater Accra region to the Ashanti region. And now we have the Yamaransa Model Labs program in 16 regions of Ghana. It has a mission to provide at least each of the regions of Ghana with at least one ICT center or one educational facility of that nature.
We have 2 sessions of the facility. Now, first you have the Edu Lab that comprises of 40 computers fully installed with educational materials or softwares for teaching of not only ICT, mathematics, English, and other subjects. And then in the same EduLab, we have a special device called Asanka, designed by Tech Kid, to help the student learn more relating to the curriculum that they are supposed to follow.
We have had students who were initially scared of holding a mouse because they thought there was a biological mouse. Now are interested in going to the classroom because they have access to all of these facilities, and it has improved their interest in STEM.
When we came for the EdTech just this year in February, as part of our program, we had a visitation to DTI where one of our students also showed interest going to learn design innovation. So currently the guy is studying design innovation at Design Technology Institute here in Accra through the model of Yamaransa by practical lessons that we are taking them through. I think that is the importance of it.
Your guests, and they are still here. We have Heather Beam, CEO and founder, Practical Education Network, Mrs. Barbara Dia, Principal, Country International School, and Daniel Kofi, who's Consultant Principal, Newland Smart Educational Center and Newland Neurodiversity School. Thank you so much for staying with us, my guests. Let me get to the next question. This one is for Daniel and Heather. I don't know who will go first, but really, to what extent do current educational policies or government, policies support the holistic implementation of EdTech? Do developers incorporate teachers' contributions as they build innovative e-learning programs for education? Is that the case? I don't know what you can tell us about that.
All right.
Sorry.
I think it's gradual. The process at the national level is gradual. Because if I look at some of the steps taken, there's some level of interest in helping. If you look at the fact that there were instances where science labs were computer labs were built across secondary schools.
Yes.
There were instances where different governments distributed laptops and so on. There is an activity going on to build STEM schools across the country. Mm-hmm. These are all good steps to make sure that technology is given a chance in our classrooms. Like I continue to repeat, even robotics, you see a lot of robotics groups. Yes, I remember moderating a program involving the Methodist girls when they won the world competition. Yes, I think some level of work is being done. If you want the new curriculum for the government, Ghanaian curriculum, there's a shift to technology now. If you watch the first 3 years, basic 1 to 3, they don't have computer as a subject anymore. It's actually integrated into every subject, because from the preschool level, I think they are doing a theme-based curriculum. So all subjects are supposed to be interconnected so that the subject itself vanishes and then the activities take control. So technology has been integrated in that so that every lesson you do, you have to give a technological interface to it. If you are doing art, the children must try at least Microsoft Photo, use it to do stuff and so on. So there's some plan there.
Okay.
Going into the senior levels to a lot of what you are supposed to do has components indicated that are technological for the teacher to do. The challenge has been outside Accra, outside Kumasi, outside Tamale. To what extent? If you remember, there was effort to give free internet to a number of institutions. These are all very good processes to get us there, but I think it's not national in nature enough. It's limited to the cities a lot. My problem, and being somebody from a neurodiverse school, is assistive devices are not available. The AACs, the augmentative and alternative communication devices are not available. They are all bought from outside, and sometimes parents, I know the experience of parents, you need to dole out about $3,000, $4,000 to get some of these gadgets. Some of them, fine, we have 3 levels, low, mid, and high tech. The high tech will hit you, and so some of them go for the mid tech ones, like the PEC, the picture exchange communication systems.
Okay.
So all these ones are not being created here. So they are expensive. And it's an angle that I would like both government and then tech developers to give an eye to, so that it will be more easier for institutions that work with neurodiverse children.
Okay. All right. Heather?
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Daniel's saying. I would also say that I think, we shouldn't necessarily expect government to be the ones to prescribe exactly which EdTech platform should be used across all schools and all that. I think it's more strategic for government to focus on the fundamentals, which is infrastructure, making sure electricity gets to schools outside of Accra and Kumasi and so on, to be that foundation for EdTech to even have a chance. And then investing in digital literacy training for teachers across the country. I think those are 2 key things that government can do. And then finally, just in terms of the EdTech development itself, let the people on the ground be the ones developing that. Just government can just create the facilitating environment to allow those things to happen. And I think, like I've said before, there's a lot of different EdTech platforms out there. I think we can let those that are really working the best, emerge naturally. And then those that are working well, government can then help with scaling. But I think we should see government's role in this whole endeavor as they should focus more on the foundational infrastructure and training.
I see. But let me come to you. Let's talk about what or how best can education technology be implemented to ensure that teachers and learners are properly empowered so they can succeed. And Heather, I'll take your thoughts on this one too.
All right, Nathan, for me, I think we should invest heavily in professional development of the teachers, by providing them with the requisite training to help them integrate technology as it's expected. It's expected at the level that our classrooms will be at par with the rest of the world. Second is accessibility and inclusivity. It's quite equally very important. Teachers and schools in general must have access to the necessary hardware and internet connectivity to make technology function appropriately, especially the cost of internet. Nathan, to talk about it. From my school, a month we use internet like 3,000 plus because we are using smart boards and all that to educate the children. If the government or we have bodies who can make it less for schools or even free, as I will plead, it will help.
Okay.
It will help. And the third one will be quality content and tools.
Okay.
Invest in the development of high quality educational content and software. This should align with the curriculum and learning objective and be engaging for students. And if we can also have people like Heather, partnership, collaboration, I think it is going to also help with the expertise, resources, and technology solutions.
I see. Heather, your thoughts on this? How best can we implement EdTech to empower teachers and learners properly?
Yeah, happy to partner with anybody who sees that synergy, definitely. I'll just say that, let's remember that technology, it's exciting, it's new, there's lots of things evolving and happening, but it's just a tool, and the tool will only be able to amplify what exists already there. And so I would say, yes, let's keep looking and seeing what technology we can integrate into the Ghanaian classroom, but let's also keep investing in the foundational skills that teachers have to deliver quality lessons. Because at the end of the day, if the teacher isn't equipped to make the lesson practical and real, it doesn't matter how much technology they're using. The students will get excited, but the learning isn't still going to happen. So let's keep that in mind. Let's invest in the foundational skills.
Before I wrap up, any concluding thoughts and comments? Does anybody have anything to say as we wrap it up?
I think it is important that people seek help.
Okay.
Going around looking at, the Mueller Neurodiversity School has a consultancy unit.
Okay.
And going around to work with other schools, you realize that a lot of people have challenges with neurodiverse kids.
Okay.
Don't have the expertise for helping them. Don't know the resources that are available to make their work. They have pathways.
Okay. Again, for context, for somebody who may not understand, what do you mean by neurodiverse?
Yeah, when we talk about neurodiverse children, we are talking about children who suffer. Not that they suffer, they are different in their sensory appreciation of things.
Okay.
And so, for example, autistic children, we have children who suffer from dysgraphia, dyslexia, and so on. These children sometimes are in the class, and the classes are struggling. They don't understand that they have ADHD, and they're just applying the same approaches. And we go around saying these things, and you realize that until you got there, and the school had no idea what is happening, and did not make any move to seek help. We will like this to be made a national issue, so that people just hear inclusivity, they want to try it, but don't know what the content or what it takes, processes that are required to get that going. So seeking help is good. And like I said, we are there. If you need help from us, that's good. Okay. Let me also digress a bit and wish my Presec boys the
final of the science and math.
As a bit success. Let me just read them success today. We look forward to a great day.
Okay. All right.
Right, Nathan, I will say that technology is something that has come to stay. So I would say age shouldn't be a barrier to embracing or using technology.
Okay.
And I would take a quote from Henry Ford that ends with it. He said, anybody who stops learning is old, whether you are 20 or 80.
I see.
Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young.
I see. Eva, I don't know what you want to add to that as we wrap it up.
Yeah, just a quick one. I want to just share a brief story. There's a school in Kaswa called Nova Star Academy. And a few years ago, they asked Penn to help them do some training for their science teachers to make their teaching more practical. And about a year ago, they reached out to us telling us that all of their students, Form 3 JHS students, managed to get a 1 on the BEC.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So after their teachers received this training and were implementing it for a couple of years, they could actually see that significant change in their students. And so I would say to conclude that technology can actually come in different forms. There's high tech, there's also low tech. There's actually a lot that we can do to bring low tech solutions into the classroom as well. And we can actually see real learning outcomes.
Thank you so much. My guest for this morning, as we were talking about building digital schools that empower teachers and learners, I had Heather Beam, CEO and founder, Practical Education Network. I also had Mrs. Barbara Dia, Principal, Prince Country International School. And I had Daniel Kofi, Consultant Principal, Newland Smart Educational Center and Newland Neurodiversity School. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning on EdTech Monday, the October edition.
Thank you, Nathan.
Great. And many thanks to you out there, our listeners, for tuning in. Thank you so much. You always do that. Last Monday of every month. Education stakeholders and government reps to facilitate critical conversations on the use of technology for teaching and learning. Now, the show is an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation's Regional Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning in ICT as part of the foundation's strategy to find solutions to Africa's youth employment by closing the gap in access to quality education and advancing the integration of technology in education policies and practices across Africa. EdTech Monday builds on the foundation's Young Africa Work strategy in Ghana with the vision that by 2030, the country will be a continental demonstration of young people, especially women, harnessing opportunities to shape the future of work and to create an inclusive economy with enhanced resilience for the most vulnerable. So we do this at the end of every month or the last Monday of every month. And we'll have the final one for the month of November on the last Monday of November. My name is Nathan Kwa. Once again, many thanks for listening.